Sharon. I was born in Manchester. I left Manchester not long after my mum died. I was about 16, 17 at the time, I think. Yeah. Yeah, ever since I left Manchester, I've been in London, yeah. Well, when I came to London, I've always worked. I worked for 30 odd years doing many jobs: chef, housekeeper, nanny, running sandwich bars, and 30 years really. And just, I think the last 4 years is just since I've been homeless is when things have been well, the worst in my life really. But before that, I've had quite a good life. I've travelled the world. I've had a son who I brought up till he was about 12, and I was just a victim of a very bad burglary and I had a mental breakdown, and this is really what found me here on the street today. I'm unable to look after my son anymore, and basically, obviously there's a lot more that goes on with it, but that is basically why I'm here today, really. The last job, oh God, I was going back a bit now because I had my son in 2005. Oh yeah, I used to be a nanny for a Labour MP in Camden. That's where I lived for 15 years. And I was with her for 3 years. And that was the last job, so that would have been 2004. When I finished that job, I had my son 2005, and then I didn't work when I had my son then. I just me and him, I just brought him up. Well, I didn't get benefits for a good few years. Just recently started getting this universal credit, which is a joke. 40 quid a week they give me, pay me monthly. So really, you found me outside Lidl today begging because this is what I have to do daily so I can get money together for food, cigarettes, or somewhere to stay, and whatever else, you know, things cost a lot of money in London, everything costs money. So that's really what I do. I've tried to get work, but the people won't employ you when you're homeless. You'll be having no address. So really, you're in a catch-22 where you know, you're stuck in this position really, till you can get a home, and then hopefully the job will come with that after that. The benefit system, since I've been on it really, they've always paid me very, well, crap money really. So there's been long periods where I've not even bothered claiming because I just don't see the point. When I get paid, it's gone in probably 12 hours of me getting it anyway, and then it's another 28 days and I get it again. So I don't think the government care really, do they? As long as they're all right. It's always been that way anyway. It's a class system in England. It'll never change. It'll always be like that. It's just something that you put up with, innit? Most other countries would riot and kick off, but we just seem to put up with it. So I suppose we always will put up with it, won't we? I have my dad, and I have brothers, and obviously I have my son. Family's distant and torn apart really, especially since my mum died many years ago, and since I live in London and they live in Manchester. It's not a close relationship, but I do have family, yeah, scattered everywhere. Of course, it's family, but you can't really think too much about things like that when you're homeless and that, because you can't really get emotional and that, because you've got to function every day, you've got to be strong, so you can't really be weak, and missing your family makes you feel weak, so you just try to forget about things and just get on with what you got to do that day really, which is what I do.
Oh God, it varies. Yeah, it varies. Lately it's gone really bad. I'll say since November, it's before Christmas. Maybe 20, £30 a day some days, but before that, some days I was earning 60 to £80 a day. Sometimes more, depends how often, how long I work. I usually come out at 7 o'clock in the morning, and usually I'm out here, you know, sometimes I'm up 2 or 3 days as well. Well, at the moment I'm staying with somebody who's letting me stay with them, and I'm paying him for me to stay there. And that's only been for the last 3 weeks. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been homeless and been living actually on the street, various places, in tents and in parks, different people's places, all over, really. And for the last 3 weeks, I've been a lot more steady for me, because I've been in a place, and I'm trying to get a bit more of a routine going, try and get back at a reasonable time, have a bath and get to sleep, and you know, try to feel a bit more healthy, because I don't feel well, really, so just try to get myself back together again. Some do. There's some good people out there, especially when I'm at Lidl here. There's a lot of good people there. They bring me clothes, and they buy me food in the day, coffee, hot drinks and that when it's cold, buy me gloves, and they give me obviously money and that. So there's a lot of arseholes as well, but you're always going to get that. But in general, I'd say most people are better than not, really. But you get used to that, I think, you know. Some people, you know, you get that old chestnut, oh, get a job, like, and you think, God, I was born outside Lidl and I've never done anything in my life. But then people, they're 10 a penny. You're always going to get people like that, aren't you? Because, you know, that's just how people are. But as I say, they're just a small amount. And most of the people, like at Lidl, they're like working class, and the people who've had a hard life. And that's probably why they give more, because they know how it feels. That's why I probably choose to sit out there. Other places like the expensive Marks and Spencer's, you can sit out there all day and people pass you all the time and don't look at you, because they're like the middle class. So you do see a lot when you're on the street about how they act in life when they've got money and when they haven't got money. And in general, my experience, people working class or people who have had a hard life seem to be more generous to you than them people who are so-called rich and doing all right, yeah. They're all right, Jack, so they don't really care now. Love. I don't think about that. I'm too old for that now. Oh, a long time ago, I think. Yeah, I can't. That's not on my list of to-dos. That's in the past. Yeah. No, that's not on my list at all. I'm quite happy on my own, and I'm going to stay on my own. That's the way it's going to be. Not really, I just want to stick to the certain questions and that's it, because I don't really want to get emotional or nothing, do you understand? In case my son watches it or anything, I don't want to, I want to seem strong, yeah? Isn't that how I always feel inside, but you just stick to the programme a bit. I don't know, I don't want to get upset, so if I talk about things too emotional, I'll get upset. I don't want to get upset. I can't afford to get upset. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, this is just, as I see it, a blip in my life. I've had a good life. I've lived with someone for 8 years who was very rich. I travelled the world. I've lived in good places. I've in all the good restaurants in London. I've done a lot of things in my life. I had a very varied past, yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to let the bosses get me down, put it that way, yeah. They're trying, but when I look back, if I die tomorrow, I don't regret nothing, yeah, because if I hadn't done what I'm doing now, I wouldn't have learnt from it. You have to do all these varying degrees in your life, be rich and stay in a 5-star hotel in Mauritius and live on a street in Hackney. It's, you know what I mean? You're still the same person at the end of the day, yeah? And you know, if I go back to that, I go back to that. But right now, I just see this as a little downtime, a little down period. But I ain't gonna be here forever. I don't know what's gonna bring tomorrow. Someone did offer me a job at Christmas and I was willing to work. I phoned him and everything. He owned a restaurant in Brick Lane and he never contacted me and all that, and he let me down. But I said to him, I'll work. I even volunteered to work free for a week. I said, you see how I work? And I'll work for free. And when you see, I said, then we'll talk money. But he didn't call me, he let me down. But I work, I prefer to work. I hate begging, it's not me, it's not what I do. I've always worked all my life, and I would like to go back to work really, but at the moment, because I'm homeless, I'm in a catch-22, employer won't take me on with their insurance or whatever, because they, you know what I mean? When you're homeless, you need to get up and have a shower and get into a routine. When you're homeless, you don't know where you're waking up the next day, so you can't really be working and be reliable. Yeah, of course I'm afraid, yeah, of course. I don't show it because I have to put on a persona on the street that everything's okay and I'm strong and that, but as now I feel inside every day. I'm thinking, shit, what about tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow? Every day is a worry, of course. Because nothing seems to be getting better at the moment, but I just plod on every day the same, but there doesn't really seem to be many changes and things seem to be getting worse out there. There's more people homeless than I've ever seen before. It's increasing, it's definitely increasing. The more variation of people on the street, people just think druggies or pissheads or scum, yeah, like shitty people. But there's a lot of middle class out there or people who split up and they can't afford 2 rents with London prices and sofa surfing. They're not registered as homeless, but there's a lot of hidden people who are homeless. And I see it increasing. And I can't see it getting any better because they're only building private flats, they're not building any social housing. So where all these people are going to go, I don't know. There's nowhere to put us, really. It's got to be, it can only get worse, I think, before it gets better. I think England's had its day, and that was a long time ago. I don't think it's coming back. I personally don't think it is. England done, England's finished. England finished a good few years ago. Yeah, it's, well, I'm 51 now, so I'm not that old, but I remember growing up in the 70s and the 80s as the good times. And I think since the 90s when everything was money, and me, and everything was like a more selfish, things have just got worse since then. I think people are a lot more selfish, a lot more on their own, just obsessed with phone and electronics and not people and things and feelings, you know what I mean? Like a load of robots, really. That's all it seems to be. It's all right. Am I looking at that camera still? Yeah. Oh, this camera. Okay. Not a smile, not with no teeth. What? Do you want my autograph? Do you want my autograph? Do you want my autograph? I'm only joking. I'm joking, sis. It's done to my head already. Oh. Bye-bye, yeah. Bye-bye, everybody. If you know me, stop by and drop me a tenner. Yeah, you make my life easier. If not, have a good day. God bless. Respect and take care, everybody. Stay healthy. That's it.